What is up, guys? It's me, Medic. Medic plays Pokemon once again. Another video. This time theme decks. Told you guys a while ago that theme decks. I had these coming and I was going to do a video on them. I know most people like seeing booster packs opened up and the elite boxes, specialty boxes, stuff like that. I don't think too many people care too much about theme decks, but to me personally, the theme decks are just so much more important to me. They have so much more meaning to me because my daughter and I play a lot of Pokemon together, and we like to play with the theme decks because they're already made, they're well balanced. We can just pull out the decks and we can immediately start to play. And these two right here are decks that I've been waiting for quite a while. I finally got this one yesterday. Got this one it was over the weekend, so I got it when I got home from work Monday. But this one I just got yesterday. So I'm finally around to recording today, and I want to go through these and show you guys. I actually play the online TCG a lot, and I've been using both of these decks fairly equally. Maybe this one a little bit more, but otherwise fairly equally. I think they're both very good decks. They're very strong theme decks. So if you're playing the online TCG and you like playing theme decks, these are your two go-to decks right now, in my opinion, till the new theme decks come around, and we'll see if the new ones are stronger. But these two are the go-to decks, in my opinion. So to get started, I think I'm going to open the Charizard deck. I think most people care about the Charizard deck the most, so we'll go ahead, we'll jump right into this one. Because these are theme decks, we know what is inside of them, so unlike a booster pack where I go through and it's kind of, a whole lot of, gee, I wonder what's going to be in here and whatnot. This one I will go through, separate the cards, and then because I have a lot of experience actually with these decks, I will tell you some of the strategies that I use, some of the things that I like to do while I'm playing with these decks. I'm sure it's the same strategies that most people do, but if I also leave out something that maybe you guys do that it appears that maybe I'm not doing, let me know, and then we can all play these decks a little bit better. Trying not to destroy the box. I usually don't keep these particular boxes. I keep the deck boxes that are on the inside, but I am not having very much luck with this. Jeez. This one's like extra super glue. So I had to get both of these on eBay. The Charizard deck, they normally go for about $12 new. The Charizard deck is pretty much impossible to find. Seems like a lot of people are using a lot of the Charizard cards right now, so I believe people who are putting together their own decks are buying the Charizard decks, taking out the Charizards and the Leons, and then, because I saw a lot of these decks on eBay, but that they were missing, Charizard and Leon and something else. So I think people are pulling out the important cards, making their own decks, and then going from there. Let me see if I can readjust the camera to get us into a better position. Try to balance a little bit. So these are how they come. They come with the inside these little plastic containers, which I like the coins that they come with. I like that they come with play mats. But my daughter and I have actually been playing with the board in one of the other decks that we had, one of the starter kits that we had. I may actually have to go back up with the camera so that I can unfold this and really show you guys. I do have it in wide angle, but the way that we're sitting is still a little difficult to get everything in, so I'm still working on my desk setup. That's a nice little, I'm assuming it's a poster then, right? Yeah, or playmat. It's a single, is this folded in half? No, interesting. Oh, okay. So what they did was some of the older ones, you used to have the full playmat, whereas this one, it is the Charizard side. So I bet you the Drednaw is on the other one. Did I say that right? What's this one called? Drednaw. I'm still probably pronouncing it wrong. So I bet you that one is like that. But it's cool little poster on the back side of it, which is pretty gnarly. Maybe I can post these up on my wall or something like that. I've been trying to figure out how I want to do kind of the backdrop and stuff. And as I start accumulating things over time, I believe we're going to get more and more stuff, which is great. Nice little quick set of rules. For the most part, seems like it's all the rules, but probably a basic level of rules. May not go super into anything. These decks don't have any of the like GX things or anything like that. I do like these coins better. These look, I mean, they're cardboard, but I think they look better than some of the past ones, so that's nice. I like those. This right here is, I think, just our card list of everything that's included inside of it. Yep. Vivid Voltage. Just talks about the teamwork. Oh, okay. So it talks about the teamwork, about how that's one of the main things right there is how Charizard works with Leon. I think you guys can see that, right? Zoom in a little bit. I might be too close to the camera. There we go. So that's just all that's talking about right there. Perfect, beautiful, sweet. Zoom out a little bit. Refocus our camera here. I'll actually probably really read this later. These are the what you can do cards, as well as telling you about the, I think we got these in our other theme decks as well too. These are just the ones where they tell you what poison does, what paralyze does, and our code card is probably somewhere else. So this is just the let you remember your status effects and whatnot, which is pretty neat. I like these. Good little memories when we are trying to remember. I have a code card over here. So the code card to the deck, I have already told my daughter she can have this, so I'm sorry. There will be no code card for this video. My daughter asked if she could have it, and I did tell her yes. This is the Holo Charizard that comes on the front of the deck. Nice little shiny right there. And there is another one inside of the deck, which we will, I like the box, which this is actually, the box looks the same as the online TCG box. So some of the past boxes on the TCG had a lot more information on it, and I thought that maybe they just didn't upload a good picture for the box, but I guess that's just what the box looks like for this one. Let's take a look at this coin real quick too. I've been spoiled with some of these new boxes I've been getting, and getting these like metal coins and ceramic coins and stuff, so this little cheap little plastic one is just not to my quality anymore. I've been spoiled. Move all these to the side, move this to the side. Let's shoot through the deck real quick. I'm going to organize everything, and then I'll come right back and we'll talk about the cards. Okay, we are back. So I think I'm going to start with the Pokemon, since most people care about those, but then we'll talk about some of the items and supporters. So when it comes to Lugia, aside from just doing a pretty solid amount of damage, I use it sometimes, like if I get it early on, it's a good basic to throw down because it only takes 1 energy to do 30. But once you get up to the 3 energies to do 120, I feel like I'm only doing that until I'm, while I'm setting up my Charizard cards. So I don't usually, unless I get this early into the deck, the game, I don't normally play that one very often. You will notice with this one, what's nice about it is even though it's fighting Pokemon, it uses colorless, and the things that are going to be the most important for it is going to be, in my opinion, for playing the Charizard deck, is going to be using the Draw 2 cards. You're really not using this one, in my opinion, my play style. I haven't really been using this to actually do any damage or knock out opponent's Pokemon. It's to get cards, because I feel like with this deck, this is a burn through your cards deck. You will run through your deck very quickly, and as long as your Charizards and as long as your Charmander, Charizards, and Charmeleons aren't sitting in your prize pool, between these 2 cards here and the way some of the items and supporters are set up, you will burn through your deck very quickly, but you will set yourself up for huge amounts of damage once you get your right cards, but you will burn through your deck doing it. So it's one of those, better hope they're not sitting in your prize pool. So usually you use these not for damage, but for drawing 2 cards. The things with these ones right here is we've just got these, which are grass Pokemon, which helps you as being the opposite to the fire. So in the event that you're going against a water deck, you do have the ability to do a little bit of damage at the beginning while you're still working on some stuff. As well as on here, you get the benefit of both of these, the evolved version being more, but you get the benefit of being able to swap this out with a bench Pokemon after doing some damage. So if you're going against something that's really strong and you're still building up and you're trying to kind of like poke the bear and run away without, and you have other Pokemon that maybe you can sacrifice, one strategy is doing that, because it does take 4 energy to get up to 130, but what's nice with it is it's the 130 damage, but you also have no retreat cost on it, and there's only 1 retreat cost on him, so it's not too bad. So this is one where you can do some damage, and when you need to pull him out, you can placeholder him as well. Sometimes you've got a placeholder while you're waiting for another card to come out. To be honest, when it comes to these guys, Find myself not using them very often unless I'm trying to hold this one. It has 130 health, so it's like if I'm just trying to placeholder it while I'm setting up my bench still, I may evolve him and let him sit there, but he's got a huge retreat cost and takes a lot of energy and then burns through a lot of energy as well to do damage. Does a lot of damage, but he's an energy card burner, which this deck does have 18 energies. So you've got the energy to burn, but it's not really what you're using to set up. For the way that this deck is built. So I don't really use this one very often unless I'm just trying to placeholder things. But this, I do like to use my Yawn to try to keep my opponent asleep while I build my bench and build up everything on my bench with all my Charizards. So I do frequently use Yawn, and then as my health gets low, I may throw the Evolve on it just to have a placeholder for maybe 1 or 2 turns. Then the important cards is we've got our Charmander, which what is important with this deck is, again, to drawing the card. You're trying to draw your cards so that you can get up to your Charizards. So you're drawing cards. The importance of the discard, even though it seems like this is a terrible idea, the discards play into the support cards. So it may seem terrible burning 3 cards, but I'm going to show you some of the tools we have where this is actually incredibly beneficial if you haven't pulled your Charizard yet, or if you're setting up your Charizard with your Leons. So burning 3 cards is not as bad as it may seem. And we get 3 of those as well, because once we have our Charizard, our ability on our Charizard is that every turn we can look at the top 3 cards and we can take one of them and we discard the other 2. And it is important that we discard the other 2 cards because in this particular deck we have 2 Leons. And the importance of this is when you play Leon, he adds 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, obviously before the weakness and resistance. But when Leon is in your discard pile, check out Royal Blaze and how it works. This attack does 50 more damage for each Leon card in your discard pile. Imagine doing your Battle Sense before your attack, and that you had 1 or 2 of these amongst those 3 cards. You take the 1 card that you need or that don't even care, just so that you can discard the other ones of these, and instead of doing 30, now 1, you didn't even play a supporter, and you get to do an additional 50 versus 30. And that's persistent through the rest of the game. As long as these are in your discard pile, you're doing 50 or even 100 more damage. So this attack with this deck, with both of these in your discard pile, 200 damage. 200 damage every single time, only takes 2 energies, and you're not burning off any energies or anything. It's just as long as Leon's in your discard, you can be doing up to 200 damage on here with only 2 energies. And Charizard's got 170 health. So very strong cards. And you burn through, it's just the way the items in the Pokemon work is you burn through your deck very quickly, but when you burn through them, you get those cards out, you are set up for success, even against a deck that would usually be non-favorable, such as the Drednaw deck, which we'll talk about. So obviously we play our Leons. This one only comes with 2 of them. The importance of the discard your hand and draw 7 is 1, if you need to try to hurry up and burn these so you're doing your increased damage, or in the event that you just have garbage in your hand and you need to basically reset yourself. This deck is built for just throwing away your cards. So it's beneficial when you need to get rid of certain cards, and you need to get rid of them fast. And again, you could play this one supporter, and if you have these 2 in your hand, you play 1 supporter and you get the benefit. If you have Charizard out, you get the benefit of 3 supporters, basically. This one is build up your energies here. So again, it's a supporter, so you can only play the 1, but you could end up playing 2 energies at a time if you needed to. Set up your bench still. Again, a lot of this is placeholders and setting up your bench, because once you got your Charizards up, you're doing Charizards up, Leon's in the discard pile, you're doing huge amounts of damage. This one right here, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and 2 energy cards. Usually you will use this right here to get your 2 Charizard Charizard cards. Basically, you've got these 2 set up so that you're more likely to pull them. Get your Charmanders up so that you can get your Charmeleons and your Charizards later. So you use these to get your Charmanders, and then you use these right here to get anywhere from 2 to 4 extra cards on your turn, because again, you're trying to pull your Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizards, and your Leons is what you're trying to get. And you've got 4 hops, which 3, 6, 9, 12 total additional cards off of these supporters right here. Gives you huge amounts of cards. Again, you're trying to pull your deck so you can get those Charmanders, Charmeleons, Charizards, and Leons. And then we've got here, which is look at the top 7 cards of your deck. If you reveal a Pokemon, you can take it, which is obviously hugely beneficial. We've got 2 of these. That's how you pull your Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizards. switch your active Pokemon. Again, this is here how we can swap our Pokemon around without having to worry too much about our retreat costs, which is good for when we were talking about the little snail dudes here earlier that had a retreat cost of 3. Say you're using a placeholder, you don't have the energies up yet, but you finally set up. You just toss one of these, pull this out, it's an item. Now you can flip it around, or in the event that maybe your Charmander, Charizard, whoever it is, has a status effect on it and you need to pull off the status effect, boom, you can clear that. Also, this one right here is now, say you've burned your Charmander, Charmeleons, Charizards, any of them, you burn those through. Now you can go ahead and you can reset your deck. And these are important because, again, we said we're burning through a lot of cards. So you have the ability, once you start really burning through your deck, to put not only 4, but another 8 cards from your discard back into your deck in the cards that you need the most. And then there's only one of these, but this is pretty important because this is the searching for the evolution card. This is just one of those events that you can't find that Charmeleon or Charizard. Boom, you've got this one right here to pull it up for you, but there's only one, so it's one of those you may hold on for a little bit and be like, okay, which one do I have, don't I have? And you're getting to the point you just don't get a choice and you've got to play it, but at least you've got the benefit of having that extra card there to pull it. So give me a moment. Let me clean this up a little bit real quick, and then we'll pull out the Drednaw deck, and we'll go through that one. Okay, we're back. I've got the Drednaw deck. I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but I think it's called Drednaw. And again, I got this on eBay. Now this one, eBay? I think I said eBay. I don't know how that came out. So I got this on eBay. Now these are still going for about $12 plus tax if you can find them in stores. I can't really find them in any of my stores, but I was lucky enough that I got this on eBay for $10, and you can actually find these very easily on eBay, and it's, in my opinion, not hard to get this deck for $10 on eBay. And in my opinion, for theme deck versus theme deck, my opinion, this deck plays better than the Charizard. Again, if you play Charizard right and you get the cards that you need, the Charizard deck does just so much damage. But I feel like this deck right here plays, in my opinion, I play better with this deck. I've been using this one and having quite a bit more luck with this deck, and I've been playing quite a bit. But I feel like I've been playing a lot better with this deck than I have the Charizard deck. I think that they're both really good decks, and I definitely have been playing both of them quite a bit. More so on the online TCG, I just kind of whatever my daily challenges are, and then that kind of, if it's something where it doesn't matter which deck that I use, then I go towards this one. But if it's something where, like, currently I'm trying to work on some grass stuff, so I don't have any grass Pokemon on this one, so I have to use my Charizard deck for that. But if it doesn't matter and I'm just playing for the points so that I can get my boosters and stuff for the week, then I usually go with this deck. I have better luck with it. So put that on the side. Let's go ahead and flip this open, start pulling through our stuff. I'm sure that this is going to be pretty much the same thing as the other deck, where we're going to have the other side of the playmat, which I think is actually really cool idea. Is instead of putting just one entire full playmat, instead it is the Drednaw side, which I think is really cool. So this side is Drednaw, and then this back is still the same back, which is fine and cool. Nice little collector to it if you're into that, but I do really like the Drednaw side. So wicked cool. I don't know. Do you guys know a way of, like, maybe turning the mat and, like, laminating it or something? Maybe I would love to use these play mats more frequently, but they're hard to unfold and not tear up and stuff. Another rule book right here, same thing as the other rule book. Again, these are cardboard ones, but I like the way that these ones look. And then we've got, should be the same thing here. Going to be our card list on here. I feel like my phone also got dim, but it might be just the way I'm sitting here. So hopefully the video still looks okay. Again, this is talks about the card list, and then this talks about how cards work together. This one it says something about like a team approach thing, which makes sense for the Leon, and then makes sense for Drednaw and Nessa, which we'll talk about on the play style on that. See if I can get into this. Again, these are the status cards, which again, I think are good little helpful reminders when you're trying to play and, you're like me and you forget things. Nice little coin right here. Again, this is just a simple little plastic one, but I still think that they're pretty neat, pretty cool. So I'll put this off on the side over here. And then here is our deck. Here's the code card, which again, told my daughter she could have both of the codes because we've been playing the online TCG a lot together, so she's going to be getting those codes. Here's the Hollow Drednaw, and then same thing as the last deck. Let me pull these apart, let me go through it, organize it, and we'll talk about the strategy that I tend to use when I play with these decks. So give me a moment, I will be right back. Okay, we're back. I think we'll start with, similar to like what we did last time, we'll start off with some of the Pokemon. Let me readjust the camera. And we'll talk about some of the Pokemon that are coming in here. So this is a similar deck to the Charizard one, but I feel like it's not as burning through of your cards. But it's still kind of, it's searching around for the right cards kind of thing. Just like I guess all decks. But I don't feel like I burn through cards as much with this deck. So starting off with some of the more assisting cards, but not really your damage play style cards. This one right here, what is it, Wishy Washy. This is just, you're screwed at the beginning and you got to reset your hand. This one right here, again, can do a lot of damage if you are able to play the cards right. There are 3 Arrokuda in total in the deck. This is discard any number of Arrokudas from your bench. This attack does 60 damage for each one that you discarded, but again, you have to do at least one just to do even 60 damage. But what's nice is that you can do up to 180 damage if you can send them out and pull them back. So it really just depends what's on your opponent's side, but I find that I don't frequently play this card unless this is all I've got at the beginning and I've kind of run out of choices. What is nice with this though is provided you have this out and you can switch cards around right, then you can search your deck and you can get up to 2 of these onto your bench. So you can set yourself up pretty good, but it's you spend a lot of time setting those up when it's just easier to play the other cards. So I find myself not really doing those very often, but I do find that when I do end up with this one, I do like to play it. 120 health, does 60 damage, and I only need to pull one of these to evolve it, as well as the targeted skewer can also be pretty beneficial if you're trying to knock out a benched Pokemon. So not terrible right there, but it only has the one of them, which is kind of disappointing with it. Now we'll get into it. Really, there are 2 different strategies, my opinion, when you're playing on how you're going to go about your damage. Now you've got the Oshawott, which again, starting off, nothing crazy about him, but you've got 3 of them, which can evolve into the Duet, which is nice, but it's good because you can, your main attack on it, you can take an energy card from your active Pokemon, put it into the hand, but the 1 energy may just be an inconvenience to them. They at least can't build their bench up, but really where it comes into, and again, you got 3 of these, which is nice. You've only got 2 of the main ones here, but what is great about this one, this is a good one for 1, reduced amount of damage. So you're taking 30 less damage is automatically from the ability. You're taking 30 less damage from every attack. But the biggest thing is this is where you end up crippling your opponent, is that you can take 2 energies from your opponent's active Pokemon and put it into their hand. And this is where it's really the strongest play of the, it can be the strongest play of the deck, is because imagine you're going against the Charizard who's doing, 200 damage. Not only would you do enough damage because of his weakness to take it out, but even say that you didn't have the weakness and resistance going on and that the 120 wasn't enough to take out that Pokemon, usually your opponent only puts enough energy on it for what they need for the attacks that they're working on. And by taking away 2 of those energies, unless they have some type of item or support that's going to allow them to play an extra energy, or a Pokemon that allows them to play extra energy, and now it's going to take them 2 turns just to get those energies back onto their active Pokemon. But that means you now get 2 attacks on them before they'll ever even be able to get an attack on you. So that's anywhere from 2 to 3 attacks is 240 to 360 amount of the damage that you're doing with this. So if you are able to build up to these, and again, you've got 2 of them in the deck, this is one that really, really hits your opponent very hard, really cripples them with those energies. They really end up in the point where they have to set cards up on the bench and allow cards up on the top to be burned because they're going to have to build up their bench to be able to get any attacks on you. But the primary things of this deck right here is the Drednaw, which starts off with just this little, what is it, Chutel, which nothing crazy. I don't use the attack very frequently on it unless I'm using a fire or anything. I typically, unless I'm going against a fire deck, but it's really the evolved. And this is what's important with the evolve when it comes in. The surf damage not only does 140 damage, but this is where the play styles come in of that tag team type approach or team approach or whatever it says in the playbooks, is because on your Vice Wave is when you play Nessa, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So now not only do you hit them for 80, you get the benefits of Nessa right here, which is put 4 in any combination of water Pokemon and energy cards from your discard pile directly into your hand. So now, not only do you end up the ability to pull back any of these later on if you've already had some of these go to the discard pile, but you can even get to the point where you start bringing back some of these cards and resetting up your bench as well on there by playing this Nessa. And all while doing so is keeping your opponent paralyzed. So I can definitely say I have played this card, and then in combination with Nessa and pulling back some of the very important cards that I've needed, such as either some more Drednaws or some more Samurott, I guess we'll call it. And I've had some people I've had more people rage quit on matches with me with this deck than I have the Charizard deck. I will say the Charizard deck, once I see the 2 Leons and my Charizard's up, then that's pretty much game over. But I will say when it comes to this deck, I've also have had that happen quite a bit. So we'll go through the strategies of the support cards real quick. Obviously, Nessa, we just talked about why, and there are 3 of those Nessas, very important. Also lets you pull back some very, very important cards between energies and Pokemon. So allows you to pull back some really important ones. And we talked about some of the cards at the beginning too, about how you really need to have a good amount of these on your bench for this one to be any use, and Nessa is useful for that. It is important to have it, and you can use Nessa for that. Maybe early game your opponent's bench isn't set up very well, and maybe that's a strategy you go with for just rapid depletion of what Pokemon they have on the bench. But usually later in the game you can't really go that approach, but it's there. Nessa also works, again, great for Drednaw's paralyzation. So obviously we've got Hop and the drawing 3 cards, which again, you've got 4 just like the Charizard deck. This is, again, is it BD to help you go ahead and get some energies onto your bench Pokemon, kind of basically double energy plays, which is important because you've got your Drednaw, which takes 4 energy. So you may be trying to set up your bench sooner. As soon as possible, and that's one of the important ways of doing that. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon. Again, these are also very important. That's a total of 4 basic Pokemon you can now pull in. You can do that anywhere from trying to set up the evolution ones, or again pulling the basic ones to start pulling some of those the fish ones we were talking about. Again, you could use that to pull up some more of those basic ones, as long as they're not in the discard pile, You can get those to help you set yourself up. Some more Dans on here, which is draw 2. You can get anywhere from 2 to 4 cards, depending on how well you're good at rock, paper, and scissors. And then again, if you need to reset your hand, or you need to get, in this one, it's more so for resetting your hand. There's not a lot of play styles on here of where there's particular cards that you want in the discard pile. So this is more so you got to reset your hand, because I believe these other ones we're only pulling them from the deck and not the discard, but I should double check for you real quick before I say that there's no importance to it. This attack does 20 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon. This one here, search your deck for 2 of them. So again, it's only coming out of the deck, so not really pulling anything out of the discard pile. So that would be really just for resetting your hand, because you don't have a good draw at the beginning. I don't know if I said it, there's 18 energy in here as well as 18 energy in the previous deck. Another evolution, Incense, which we had 1 in the other deck as well, which is great for pulling an evolution that we're trying to hurry up and set things up. We've got some look at the 7 cards, which again, pulling out the evolutions that you're trying to work on. And now these are actually very important. I feel more important on this deck than on the Charizard deck. And the reason being is because once his health starts to get a little bit low, you do have a retreat cost of 4, and I believe that the other one was a retreat cost of 3. No, 2. So not as bad with the 2. But the retreat cost of 4 is all your energies are gone, so you can't even pull them back on the bench to let maybe a weaker Pokemon get knocked out so you can come back out and do a direct hit, because it would take you 4 turns to get, or 2 turns if you had all the right cards for it, but probably up to 4 turns to get the energies back. So you can avoid doing that by swapping it out. Throw out a weak Pokemon, let that weak Pokemon get knocked out, you immediately put him back out, boom, 140 damage, even if he's only got a couple hundred, maybe 10 or 20 health left. You know, you can pull that out, get a huge amount of damage. So that is it for the 2 boxes. I don't have them put back together because I want to hurry up and get all of this done and recorded, so I don't have them to put back in front of you. But I hope that you guys enjoyed my review of these 2 decks. For me, the Drednaw deck is my favorite of the 2. The Charizard deck is very strong, and I do very much so like the Charizard deck, but I will say that the Drednaw deck, when I play the online TCG, I have way more luck with Drednaw than I do with Charizard. I just happen to play this one a lot better, so I tend to go to this one more. However, a lot of the challenges that I'm working on for my levels right now in the TCG is requiring me to play a lot more of the Charizard deck, and I'm playing some fast games with the Charizard deck, but I feel like I like the Drednaw deck better. So if you're looking at one to get because you want to play theme decks, you won't be sad with either one. They are both very good decks, so whichever one you can get, you won't be disappointed with it. The truth is, you probably won't be able to find the Charizard deck. It's mostly sold out pretty much everywhere. The Drednaw deck is the one that, if you're going to find one, it's probably going to be the Drednaw deck. But honestly, in my opinion, if you can only get the Drednaw deck and you like playing theme decks, you will not be disappointed with this deck whatsoever. I'm very happy with it. I very much so like it, and we'll be using this till the new theme decks come out, and we'll find out how strong those ones are. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to future videos with you. Take care.